Good morning, comrades. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to white, snowy Nürburgring. I'm hoping that you're having a wonderful Sunday, wonderful weekend so far. And welcome to this interesting video. As you can see, it's not an onboard, not a vlog. It's based on the title and the thumbnail, and the setting is something different. And I sincerely hope that you're going to stick around because hopefully at the end we're going to have some nice, healthy discussion in the comments. The reason why I'm making this video, something interesting occurred yesterday. I was at SM Motor Show and checking out all the cars, presenting our car, and I made a short fragment of a car. I made a short video for my Instagram, which I posted later in the evening, and it was a Mark 7 Golf, and it had so-called ISOFIX roll cage. And once I posted it, things became quite heated in the comments and also later in my DMs. So first, before I'm going to explain to you the whole story, let me explain to you what was the reasoning for having such a disapproval of such a product. What is an ISOFIX cage, and what do we motorsport enthusiasts like to see as a proper cage in a race car? I can actually use another Golf 7 of Apex as an example. So when we look in the back, when we open the trunk, you will see actually, well, a bolted cage bolted to the chassis. I will explain more of that in a bit, but the other car, among many other cars at SM Motor Show and just cars in general, had the cage mounted to the ISOFIX mounts. So these are the so-called ISOFIXes that you have in most of the modern cars, if not all, and they're simply meant that you would mount or attach a child seat to it. You can see it's literally pretty much a hook, like a small piece of metal. It does nothing more than just to avoid your child seat being loose. So having a cage attached to it, which from traditional perspective is supposed to add rigidity, well, in case of an impact it would do nothing. It would just collapse and maybe even cause more harm than good. But let's have a look, for example, at how like more traditional motorsport solutions would work. So let's have a look at a bolted cage. RM4, which is currently on the lift, has a bolt-in cage, but it's on the lift, so it's hard to access. But luckily, the E46 that Robert recently bought or exchanged for GT86 has also a bolted cage. You can see that it is, well, you cannot see now because of the carpet, but it's bolted to the chassis. But for the rest, all the connecting points, most of the mounting points are bolted. Therefore, it is easier to install it. You don't have to weld into your chassis. But it's still mounted stiffly to the important chassis points, so in case there is a rollover, it will prevent, well, your roof collapsing on top of you. Alternatively, we have here our race car Seat Leon Cupra 300, with which I raced the full season last year, and its cage, it's a welding cage or welded cage, so you can see that the cage is welded tight to the chassis. Therefore, it has significantly less flex. It adds a lot more rigidity that you can, which not only benefits the safety, but also the driving characteristics. You can see more welding points over here, and well, the whole cage is welded again. There are no bolted patterns whatsoever. As mentioned, there were lots of comments. People were ridiculing the product, also maybe the car or the owner, saying like, I hope that he's not going to go on the track with it because consequences might be bad. And also, apart from the comments, the owner, of course, of the car saw it because it started getting traction. So he reached out to me in DMs. Also, the company that built the car reached out to me in DMs and asked like, guy, what actual F? Why is some random dude like commenting, like making negative remarks about our product, about our car, while we're here simply having fun and it's just a show car? Completely understandable. And the long story short, the outcome was very positive. After 2 hours of talking and exchanging opinion, it was a very healthy discussion, and we're gonna end up with something beautiful, because we're probably gonna go for some laps with the owner of the car, with the company that is building lots of cool cars. It's going to be good. But why am I making this video? Because it made me realize a couple of things. At first, I was thinking like, guys, what the hell is your problem? That was my first initial opinion. I simply said, the product, like the type of a roll cage, is stupid. And I'm allowed to say, that, for example, the car where I'm sitting right now is red. Color red on anything else than a Ferrari is stupid. It's an opinion. I'm not saying the person who built it must be mentally challenging, or like the whole car is shit, or the company that built it must be retarded. No, it was that was my frustration. Why is someone making such a drama asking me to take down the post while I'm not even tagging them or the company involved, and not commenting anything bad about them, but simply explaining that this type of cage that is installed probably in 100 cars at SM Motor Show is just like, for me and many of my following, is like silly, and people should not install these kind of cages if they intend to have any track use, motorsport use, because it's gonna lead to trouble. So that was the main concern. The reality, the reason for them to be actually concerned about it is that, listen, if any other guy would have said something like that, and people pass by the show and they laugh at our car or they be positive about it, whatever. But when a guy with 280,000 following on Instagram, and what, I don't know what we are right now, 410 plus thousand on YouTube, makes comment like that, and it influences other people's opinion. And probably even bigger issue here is that people can take this message out of context. They can assume that we are using this car for track days, for motorsport purposes, which is absolutely not the case. It's simply a show car, nothing more. And actually a very sick show car, because I believe he probably spent more money on it than I on average track car. But again, more importantly, taking things out of context is something that we'll get to back in a later point. The first thing that I realized, like, you know, when I started doing YouTube and like the whole sharing experiences, even like 3 years ago, I was still relatively small and like whatever, I could say whatever I could, whatever I want. It would not, like, nobody would care, people would whip up whatever. But now all of a sudden, when you have like this, a lot of people refer to me quite often when I do some stupid stuff on videos, when I do some stupid stuff on the track. People say like, Misha, at this point you actually have some sort of like an example figure, maybe you should chill out. And you know, at that point, like, it is frustrating that you cannot express, like, make even sometimes simple remarks, simple joke, because people will understand something like completely wrong out of the context, and it's not their fault, because it's just like a simple communication problem. A good example of earlier this year, we had, like, when I drove, for example, recently, this old Alfa Romeo, and I was making funny faces like, oh my god, and I asked the guy even like, hey, can I call your car a shitbox? Because him and I, we had a very healthy discussion and conversation off camera beforehand, and we said, like, we were making jokes about it, and he was making jokes about his own car. So I knew, like, okay, we can have a bit of humor, but some people, like, interacted, like, perceived it as a negative, in the form of, like, why are you so arrogant? Because it's, like, not a supercar? Why are you, like, commenting so bad about this car? No, this was not the meaning. It was, like, completely different context. Alternatively, when I had a ride in a Lamborghini Aventador earlier this year, I was hating the car. I was hating the way that the car was driven. And allow me as a human to express the goods and the bads. I'm not complaining. I'm just, again, explaining the situation. We're going to get more into detail, into like, go deeper in that. Allow me to, have a bad day simply. But whereas with the Alfa Romeo, people were saying like, oh my god, he's so arrogant because it's not a supercar. With the supercar, people were saying also like, who the hell you think you are? Like, such an expensive car, you are getting ad ref with your video, and you are not satisfied. I hope you never ever gonna get any passenger rides ever again, because how horrible person you are. And it happens more often. But going more forward, so I was talking to Maggie, my girlfriend, last night, and I explained it to her about, like, why do people get triggered so much? And maybe I should make a video, what I'm doing right now. And her response was, Misha, you are the most hypocrite person to do it. Because you are the one, whenever you have a good video, and it goes well, it's like, it has good views, and 99% of comments say like, Misha, great video, I had so much fun, it was so good, it was a great lap, great driving. And there is one person that's going to comment something, like one particular corner that I took wrong, or I was not upshifting good enough, or driving style, or. And I'm going to comment to that person, like, dude, chill. Like, there's a reason for why I'm doing that, why I'm not setting a lap record in this car, because it's not my car. And then someone else might say, like, you're still driving too fast, etc., etc. So her point was, like, you are focusing always on the negative. So can you, like, how can you expect from other people to not to do it, while you are the one who is always jumping on the negative comments, while all your hardcore supporters and fans, when they say you Misha, great video, you just give them a heart, and you not tell them like thank you very much, thank you for the compliment. And I guess this is just something that us people do really in reality, like focusing obviously on the negative. And I think the reason why I'm making this video are two things. Two important things. We're now approaching the end of the year. We're gonna have holidays. We're gonna have good New Year's resolutions coming up where we want to improve ourselves. So let's try, and again, because I'm taking myself example, let's try to focus more on the positives and appreciate the positives more than the negatives. But also from my point of view, like me coming to realization like, shit, I cannot actually say bad things without offending people, or I like to see myself as a nice guy who just wants to share fun. And if one thing can be taken out of context and it can negatively affect people, this is not my intention. This is something that I don't want to do. And it's like, man, it's really like this, like, you know, like balancing on a thread where you like, okay, can I do something? Can I be extraordinary? Can I be a bit more than plain and do something to bring more excitement, or will I offend people? Is it okay to offend people? Is it okay to say that Polestar has these seat belts and like, oh my god, this is like the most stupid invention because it's like gonna choke you, and people laugh about it, and Polestar says like, thank you very much for a very positive review of our product. It's a negative critique that we're gonna improve our product, and eventually, ta-da, look at that. They do something with it and they turn out into something positive. So maybe it's okay to do negative and turn it out into positive. It's a weird day. It's something that I wanted to get off my chest. And I hope to hear from you, your opinion. Is it okay to sometimes comment negative stuffs? Should we all just like take a chill pill sometimes? Think about why certain things were said and in which context? I don't know. It's like, I hope I gave my opinion across. But let's try to be better people, especially on such a beautiful Sunday here at the Nürburgring. Overexposed. Very overexposed. Anyway, see you in one of the upcoming videos tomorrow. Bye-bye.